Hello, my name is James. I'm Head of Visitor Services at Norwich Theatre. I'm here to explain to you how our audio loop system works inside the auditorium, to talk you through how to use the headsets, where you will collect them, and what you'll do if you have any problems visiting us.
How do I get a headset?
When you're visiting Norwich Theatre Royal, Norwich Playhouse or Stage 2, we have the headsets available to collect inside the main foyer.
Who do I need to talk to?
If you'd like to use one of the audio loop systems, you just need to come to the main foyer of either Norwich Theatre Royal, Norwich Playhouse or Stage 2 and make yourself known to a member of staff. They'll direct you to one of the Visitor Services team who can hand out one of the headsets and explain how the system works. There's no need to book in advance, you just pop up and say hello.
How do the headsets work?
We have two different types of headsets that you can use. Both of them work in a very similar way, but with slight differences. There are microphones embedded into the walls inside the auditorium. They pick up ambient noise from the stage and transmit them to the headsets. So, the two different types of headsets that we have. The first one looks a little bit like a stethoscope and it has its own earphones on. Anybody can use this. You don't need to have a hearing aid. You can just borrow one of these and make use of it. Very simple. There's no on button on the headset. You turn it on by pulling the earpieces apart and that immediately turns the system on and you just pop them in your ears. The headset has a wheel on the front, that's the volume control. So if you turn it to one side, the volume turns down, and turn it to the other side, the volume turns up. So as it's facing away from you towards the stage, you turn it to the right to lower the volume and turn it to the left to raise the volume. There's also a button in the center of the headset. This is how you would change the channel. Now we will give it to you with the correct channel on, so best not to touch this button. But if anything's not working, this is the first place to check. So it should be on channel number 1, and that will use the general loop system picking up the amplified sound from the stage. If you're also coming to visit the theatre to enjoy one of the audio described performances, that's done on channel number 2. So we'll give it to you again with the correct channel, channel number 2, and you can listen into the audio description. Like I said, this stethoscope type, anybody can use, and it turns on just by pulling the earpieces apart. If it happens to turn itself off at any point, again, just pull the earpieces apart and it will turn back on. Second system, slightly smaller and doesn't have inbuilt earpieces, but again works in a very similar way. The first main difference though is it has an on button at the top. Just on the top of the headset, it's slightly embedded in, you can feel it. Press the on button and the light on the screen will come on. Again, we'll give this to you with the correct channel, and for amplification, it's channel number 1, and for audio description, it's channel number 2. Now this system feels the same as the other one. We have a large wheel on the front for the volume control, and the channel button in the center. Now, this system's slightly cleverer, because this one can work with your hearing aid, as long as your hearing aid has a T setting or a loop setting. If you're using that, we will hand it out with this loop of cable plugged into the side of the system. Now, this loop of cable needs to go around your neck like a necklace. You need to turn your hearing aid to the T setting or loop setting and just have this in your top pocket facing towards the stage. That will transmit the sound from the microphones from the stage to the headset and then to your hearing aid via this loop. Hopefully very straightforward. The other advantage of this system though is if you find the stethoscope slightly uncomfortable, you can also use this in the same way, but with your headphones. The plug on the side is an audio jack. So we have headphones that we can give you. You can plug them into the side and wear them just like a Walkman.
Will it disturb the people around me?
When you're using the headsets, nobody around you should be able to hear. Even if you have the volume turned up quite loudly, it shouldn't affect anybody nearby. I hope that was helpful to explain how the audio loop system works. Like I said, we have the same system at Norwich Theatre Royal and at Norwich Stage 2, and we have a very similar system at Norwich Playhouse. The headsets look slightly different, but the principle is exactly the same and they work in exactly the same way. We're always here to help. If you have any issues or difficulties using the system, you can flag down one of the volunteer stewards inside the auditorium, or you can pop back to the foyer and speak to a member of the Visitor Services Duty Management team. I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you at the theatre.